Hello, everyone. I'm Tracy, and thank you so much for being here. Shane is in the background, but his connection is a little slow today, so he's going to be off camera. I'm really sorry, Shane. But in today's video, we're going to be going into the severe storms that have been hitting the Midwest, the East, the Northeast, and parts of Canada. And we're talking about severe snow and severe cold temperatures, and it's getting in the way of people traveling, and some people are actually asked to shelter in place for a matter of days. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, please do so before you leave, and like, comment, and share this video so we can let as many people know what's really going on. And that way people can be prepared for a time when a severe weather event comes to their area. Also, now that we are officially in the holiday season, I wanted to remind you all that we wrote a book released a few months ago. It's called Sound the Alarm. It includes all of our research that we did on the fire in Maui. And we also include subsequent events and go into what has happened and the similarities there. And, you know, if you have someone in your life that really needs to wake up, who really needs to know this information so that they could be prepared, it would make a really good Christmas gift, or just a gift for anyone that maybe isn't on YouTube but needs to know this information. We need to wake as many people up as we can. So the more you know, the better prepared you can be for when it comes to your area. And I know a lot of people are like, well, Trump is going to clear all of this up, and we won't have to worry about these things. But it's our opinion that these events will not stop, and we will continue to deal with these things going forward. So the more people know, the better prepared we can be. Okay, so also I wanted to welcome the new channel members, Laura Dale, Alan Nakamura, and Mark Davis. Thank you so much for becoming members. If you want to join and become a member, you will get priority replies to your comments, and access to a private Telegram group so you can communicate with us better. And then as we grow our membership, we'll also do members only polls and content. So, okay, let's get started now. And I'm going to start out with this satellite loop that Shane caught. And this is going over the Michigan area, over Lake Michigan, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to look at that beam.
Yeah, so you can see a very narrow NEXRAD radar beam coming from the upper peninsula towards the center of the lower peninsula. Now, NEXRAD radar is also a form of microwaves, I just wanted to point out. And if you look at the location where the beam is, you can see that it cuts across from the upper left towards the center. And that will be relevant because we have another video clip to show too.
Okay, I'm going to play that now.
All right. So now you remember where the beam was. Now you see this river of clouds that is in the exact same spot. And this little atmospheric river of clouds is one of the places that dropped 4 feet of snow on northwestern Michigan.
And then
And
can you explain a little bit about what do you think was going on with that beam? Like, what do you think it was trying to accomplish?
okay, so the area of the beam is going to be a higher temperature than the surrounding air, and I do believe that that will help can keep keep the water as a vapor until it either gets out of range or they shut the beam off, and then it can recondense and fall as precipitation or snow if it's cold enough.
Okay, and then we're calling that the atmospheric river. Is that an example of that?
I would say it's like a miniature example of an atmospheric river. What we did see is a line of precipitation that was moving across the state, and it is very similar to an atmospheric river, just on a much smaller scale.
Okay. And then here is a really unusual anomaly, but we've been seeing this a lot in other events. And this is a water spout over Lake Erie. And we're going to show another visual, but this is over Lake Erie. And yes, those are surfers surfing in very cold temperatures in very cold water. But I have learned that that is a thing. We've
Yeah.
seen this in Hawaii. We've seen this, over land, which, tornadoes, but they seem to be associated with these, I guess, suspicious weather events. And here I'm going to pull up the visual that will help a little, and Shane could go
Yeah.
into a little bit about this.
Sure. I included this visual to point out the fact that tornadoes typically only happen at 60 degrees or above. You can have a tornado at like 55 degrees or even perhaps lower, but typically you will not see a tornado below 55 degrees. The temperature and the dew point both have to be above 55 degrees. And the water temperature of that tornado was 43 degrees, and the air temperature was only 28 degrees. So it seems really unlikely that we would be able to have a natural tornado under those circumstances.
All right. And then I'm going to go into some visuals that illustrate just how severe this snowstorm is. And this is Erie, Pennsylvania. And we're thinking like 5 feet of snow,
This is about 4 feet of accumulation here.
4 feet of snow. And this is not unique to these areas. However, it is early to be seeing this type of weather. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's very early in the season, and typically lake effect snow is only like 2 to 3 feet. However, this time around, it was almost double that, and it was double that in some places. So it's very early and very extreme.
Okay. And so we'll see that this is the Toronto area. It's hitting that area as well. And here's another visual here. Was there anything about this you wanted to point out?
Well, just that the four main areas that were hit were the northern Michigan area got 4 feet. Um, the Cleveland area got about 3 feet. Erie, Pennsylvania got about 4 feet. Buffalo got between 3 and 4 feet, but Watertown got up to 6 feet.
Okay. And then here, announcement of the road closures because the snow was so severe that all the highways were closed and people got stuck in their cars overnight.
Yeah, on I-90, I-79, and I-81, there was hundreds of people who were caught in their cars overnight. And the previous graphic said that there was up to 5 inches per hour, which is very, very much unheard of.
Okay. And here's the area where the closures are, but I believe they're cleared up by now, right?
Yes, on the United States side, I-90 and I-80 have been reopened.
Okay. And here's a crazy visual. This is a snow wall coming over Lake Erie in the
Yes.
Buffalo area. Okay. Yeah, so you can see that is like a straight wall of snow coming over. And then here is some, I would say, propaganda or misinformation. Right here, they're saying that severe snowstorms are happening more often because of the planet heating up due to the consumption of excess fossil fuel use, which to me doesn't make sense. And in fact, here Dr. Matthew Wielicki says that this has nothing to do with climate change. And it just seems like as time goes on, these narratives get dumber by the day. So
Yeah, the
a
comments were
lot of
great.
people are waking up. Were you going to say something?
Oh, I just said the comments on that were great. A lot of people are waking up and people saw right through it.
Yeah. So we want to wake more people up, let people know that these things are not true.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then
it was
before we go on to the Canada stats, we do have some more videos we could play on the United States.
Okay. Did I forget this news report right here?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really going to be on the areas where we've already had a tremendous amount of snow because it's hard for those snowplows to keep up with it. As you mentioned, coming down at 2 to 4 inches an hour. So any travel right now on Interstate 90 stretching from Cleveland up through Buffalo is going to be very dicey in some parts. And even Interstate 81 going from Syracuse up to Watertown also going to be pretty extreme. But you also have snow elsewhere. You've got snow coming down in portions of Michigan, Ohio. But the real focus is going to be on portions of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. This is where we are expecting those tremendously high totals, up to 6 feet by the time this is all said and done. It's the highest totals, though, again, you're still looking at an additional maybe 1 to 3 feet along portions of northern Ohio, areas of Pennsylvania and western New York. And then up here near Watertown, that's where we could be looking at an extra 3 to 5 feet on top of what we've already seen come down. Look at this. Over 70% of the U.S. population is expected to see temperatures at or below freezing over the next couple of days. And yes, that dips pretty far south. Take a look at this. All the way down to the Gulf Coast, you have these frost and freeze warnings in effect just because of how cold it's going to get.
All right. And I did want to comment, these temperatures in the north, northeast, and Midwest are not unusual, but for the South to be getting these low temperatures is unusual. And the dangerous part of that is if there's a power outage, people in areas that normally don't have this type of weather are often not prepared, and that's where they're going to face trouble. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shane. Shane grew up in an area where there's a lot of snow, a lot of cold weather. If you're used to that, there's often maybe a backup plan, right? Like a generator or natural wood
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah, individuals who grew up in north where it typically snows more, they're typically more prepared for that. And I would say on a collective level, their cities and towns usually are too. However, the farther south you go, the more the individuals and the communities are going to be unprepared.
Yeah. So if you are in those areas, um, do what you can to get ready for colder than normal temperatures. Okay, and here, this is a one about Pennsylvania, New York, the roads.
This morning, a major snowstorm wreaking havoc on the roads as millions of Americans return home from Thanksgiving. The storm slamming the Great Lakes region, bringing feet of snow. Parts of New York declaring a state of emergency. In Pennsylvania, a disaster declaration. Snow falling as fast as 3 inches an hour, and with more than 3.5 feet of snow already on the ground, plows have been struggling to keep roads clear. Snow snarling traffic and stranding hundreds of cars for hours. Portions of Interstate 90 completely shut down from Ohio to New York. The storm causing chaos as the TSA braces for the busiest Thanksgiving travel period on record. The agency predicting to screen a record 3 million plus passengers, with nearly 70% of Americans set to face temperatures at freezing or below.
All right, so that's going to wrap up the U.S. Reporting, right?
Yes.
And then now we're going to go into what's going on in Canada, and this is predominantly the Ontario area. And let me play the video.
Hello, everyone. The OPP are currently monitoring and engaging in the major weather event that's occurred currently in the Muskoka area. Highway 11 still remains shut down between Highway 60 in Huntsville down to West Street in Aurelia, both northbound and southbound. We are working with municipal partners as well as other partnerships to help with getting vehicles off the road, both heavy vehicles and regular vehicles. We are also checking on people who may be stranded in vehicles on side streets using MSVs and using other municipal resources. We are encouraging people to stay off the roadways and monitor your gas if you can within your vehicles. We are working diligently to make sure that you're looked after for public safety. Any concerns, especially for emergency situations, please call 911, or you can call the 1-888-310-1122 to respond to the Provincial Operations Center and generate a call for service for assistance. Thank you.
All right. And that was the detachment commander from the Ontario Provincial Police.
Okay, and then here's some visuals on Ontario. The snow levels from Gravenhurst and Gracebridge. So I guess these are the areas that were most heavily hit. And also, there's another storm coming to this area, right, in the next few days.
Yes, all of the areas that got lake effect snow this time around are also going to get lake effect snow again.
Okay. And then I'm going to go into the posts that we've been catching. And this is again from Canada, and pointing out that the military and government is not properly responding. And people are starting to wonder why that is. And this is a question: why hasn't the military been called in yet? And was there anything else you wanted to point out with these posts?
Just that, a lot of the people had to help each other because the government was no help once again. And so I just wanted to say that in times of crisis like this, that we should have like a network of friends and neighbors to rely on, because I think the government is going to either be missing in action or doing the opposite of helping.
Okay. Pretty consistently with like the fires and hurricanes and all these disasters. And then here is, what are we seeing here? Tomorrow, Tuesday.
Yeah, these are the below normal temperatures for Tuesday the 3rd. And you can see how far south it goes.
Oh, right, down to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Watertown, New York, tomorrow. So it's going to get worse tomorrow, correct? With the snow and the cold.
Yeah, they're predicting 40 more inches for Watertown, New York. Some of those areas already got 6 feet. So if they get an almost 4 more feet of snow, then that could be 10 feet of snow total.
Okay. And this is, we're pointing out that in Florida, it's also going to get to be freezing or below freezing.
Right. And if it's freezing in Florida, it is most certainly freezing in North Carolina.
All right. And a lot of people, I did want to point out, we didn't include it in this presentation, but there are people living in tents and makeshift structures because they lost their home. And now they're going to be now they're in this extreme cold and snow. And so I can't imagine how horrible of a situation it is there now. Okay. Do we see this one already?
No, not yet.
Okay.
This is the forecast for Wednesday, which shows the exact same areas that already got hit or forecasted to be hit again.
Okay. And this is for the 8th of December. So next week, more snow will be hitting this area.
Yes. Yeah. So even more next Sunday.
All right. And then I also wanted to address the FEMA presence that was in, I can't say this, Osceola County in Michigan.
I think it might be Osceola County, but I think the town is called Oscuda, Michigan. Yes.
Oscuda. Right. So there were 350 FEMA trailers that were seen there. And we couldn't really figure out what the purpose of that was. They're not there anymore. But we're kind of talking about if that has anything to do with what's going on now. And we don't think it is. But again, this weather system is just starting. There's going to be more severe weather coming. So time will tell if those two events are related. Did you think it was related?
Well, real quick, I just wanted to say that the FEMA trailers were actually scheduled to be shipped there, but they haven't actually arrived yet. And the reason that they said to do so was to serve these 6 counties on western side of Michigan, just in case there was some sort of disaster. And one thing I noticed a few weeks ago when I looked into it is that all 6 of those counties are in the lake effect snow area.
Okay, but there were trailers, right? That's what we were hearing.
Trailers had not actually arrived yet. So what happened was at the town hall meeting, the city managers or whoever it was announced that FEMA had told them that they will be receiving up to 350 trailers at that location. but they hadn't actually arrived yet. But the site
Okay.
is slated to be a FEMA staging area for Western Michigan.
Okay. All right. And another topic we wanted to kind of explore is, if this is an engineered weather event, what is the purpose of it? And so far, there have been no fatalities. So it's kind of hard to know. It is still kind of early, but it could just simply be the desensitization of these events, or simply to wreak havoc on the residents of these areas. And some of these areas have been told that they're possibly going to be stuck at home for 4 to 6 days. So that
Right.
gets in the way of a lot.
Yeah, it's less likely to be a mass casualty event, and I don't think anyone's died yet. However, it could be, like you said, some sort of predictive programming to get people used to this kind of weather. Or I think it could also be involved in some type of land grab, especially if they do end up with 10 feet of snow, then, that could probably make it unlivable, at least in the short term.
And maybe use like eminent domain to deem that area
Right. We
unlivable.
are expecting a warm up in mid December, and that could melt all that snow. And if all the snow melts right away, then you could have another flooding situation.
Oh, okay. That would be really bad. Okay. Was there anything else that I missed, or something
No,
else
I
we
think
wanted
that
to?
covers everything.
That's going to do it. Okay. So thank you guys all for being here. Please subscribe before you leave. And please, go to the MAUIbook.com to get a copy of the book we wrote, Sound the Alarm. And yeah, I think that's going to do it. So thank you guys all for being here. Please be safe, especially if you're in these areas. And any kind of reports or information that you would like us to see, you can email the Proton address, and we'll put that in the description. So with that, thank you guys, and we'll see you all soon. Bye.